I'm not a scientist. I've got ADHD, dyslexic, bombed out of high school, never went to university. But somehow I got to work with this amazing lady. So it just goes to show, it doesn't matter where you come from in life. Like, I'm working next to an amazing scientist, one of the best in the world in my opinion. So yeah, so then here's me, but I'm going to tell you quite a different story, but it all aligns to the same thing. So in 2013, I was just in the middle of an ordinary life. My kids were 6 and 4 at the time, and I was just in a Zumba class one day. I'm a swimming coach by trade. I was very fit, doing triathlons and swimming for miles in lakes and all the rest of it. And I was in a Zumba class one day, and there was like, right, run around the room. I was like, right, okay, run around the room. I was like, my legs don't feel right, and my feet started to feel funny, but I carried on. And all of a sudden I just fell over. I said to my friend, she was like, get up, stop being lazy. I was like, I can't stand up. And she went, what do you mean? I was like, my legs won't move. And that foot motion that you do, it just wasn't there. My legs felt numb, and everything just was like, I mean, I remember shaking from head to toe. I was like, what is going on with me? So, got sent to hospital, and they diagnosed me with something called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is an autoimmune disease that literally paralyses you from head to toe, and all you can do is blink. So they did a lumbar puncture, said, yeah, it's definitely this is what it is. Not to scare you, but we're going to have to put you on the respiratory ward because your lungs are going to fail, you won't be able to move, but you'll be able to blink, so you can communicate through blinking, so I suggest you like. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, so, you know, within a week it'll all start to shut down. So can you imagine? I was like, waiting for doomsday for everything to start collapsing and whatever. But it never actually happened. I just couldn't walk. That was it. I started to be able to walk a little bit with someone holding my hands like this, but I was just like, but I don't feel ill. I just feel weak. I just don't know what it is. So I said to the doctor, there's something else wrong with me and you're missing it. He said, Kelly, you're wasting my time. He says you need to go to counselling because you need to deal with your disability. Right? I was like, I'm 31. Like, I know you're missing something. So fast forward 3 years now, I'm still the same. But at this point, I'm going blind, my organs are failing, my skin, I'm getting upset now, my skin was like blotchy. I was growing, I mean, I'm not a hairy person, or never have been, but the hair on my arms was thick. So I was saying to every doctor I saw, my liver and spleen are really big, I've seen it. And he went, it's not on your records. I was like, what? So I was fighting this for a year. My vision was getting worse. Every time I went for the treatment that I had, the drip, it just got worse. Everyone else would be sitting having it happy as Larry, having teas and coffee and stuff. And I would literally be on the chair, shaking from head to toe. I was like, something's wrong. I literally pulled my drips out of my arm. I just said, I can't do this anymore. And they went, if you walk out that door now, you're going to have to go all the way back to the beginning. Fine. So, there's a point in us, this was a big turning point, but the day before the big turning point, I was sitting in my mum's house, or my dad's house, and she was just talking about something normal, the neighbours and whatever. And it just come out, I was just like, Mum, I'm dying. She went, Cal, I know you are, I can see it every day. It always gets me sad, that does. And she said, you've got to fight this. It's only you that can do it. I said, no one believes me. And she said, just, come on, you've got to do it, you've got to save your life. Wasn't spiritual, didn't meditate, nothing at all, ever. But I was praying to something, and I was like, just send someone that's going to listen to me, just send someone. And all of a sudden, this transvestite doctor walked through the door, massive, I mean I'm 6 foot tall and he's like tall. Walked through the door, full on wig, makeup, everything. I thought, it's you that's going to help me. Because if you've literally got the confidence to walk through the hospital like that, clearly a man, then you can challenge someone. And he was a student. And I said to him, can you check my liver and spleen, because I've been told it's really big but no one believes me. And he said, I'll do it. And this other doctor was like, you can't. He's like, I'll do it. I was literally like a lab rat for 8 weeks. And one day this nurse comes in and she went, we think we know what's wrong with you. I thought, fucking thank God. She said, but don't Google it, will you? I was like, okay. Obviously you're going to Google it. I've been ill for Christ knows how long. No one believes me. So I Googled it. I said, we think you've got something called Poem syndrome. I was like, right. She said, but only 500 people in the world have ever had it. It's very rare. I was like, okay. She said, but we think you've got a version of it we've never seen before. So she said, we're going to give you a bone marrow transplant, but you're going to be your own donor. I was like, okay. So went through the whole process. They said, but we've got to give you the biggest dose of chemotherapy we can give you without killing you. That's the thing. There was a point, and it was on my birthday on the 4th of July, I remember, and I was lying in bed, and it was the most illest I've ever felt, and I couldn't actually think, how is it possible to feel this bad but still be alive? But there was just a point then, I went to sleep, and then I woke up and I was like, and I was so amazed I wasn't dead. I was just like, I can't believe I actually woke up, because I was convinced. That was it, that was my switch off point, and I'd said goodbye to everyone in my head and done everything I could. And I woke up and I was like, I'm not dead. I was like, I've got to be dead. And I was like looking around thinking, this isn't dead. So there was that, then this is where it switches. So at this point, I just knew everything was going to be fine. I didn't know why I thought it was going to be fine, because the odds were massively stacked against me. I didn't know how much of a miracle it was until I had an in-depth conversation with Joe. And I've been a big study in America for ages, now knowing, because it's so rare, for one that I've survived myeloma, which is what it was, and myeloma is not curable, that I've learned to walk again, which they said you'll never be able to stand still for even a second, and I'm thriving, there's nothing wrong with me. So I've met a lot of people along the way, so obviously this is a big long journey, and I became a bit of an inventor. So I started to realise that how powerful the earth is and the earth grid is, and start to make things with earth and energy and copper and all this kind of stuff. Like I made a healing blanket. It's just like absolutely, just like this knowledge that I unlocked is crazy. So a bit further along in the journey, it was only probably 2022, I was doing some remote healing on a friend of mine, and I just had this urge to pick up a pen, and I did not know why. And my hand just drew this really perfect frequency, and I need to put a video on the presentation actually. And my hand's starting to do this, I was like, okay, alright, we're doing something now. It's not just some squiggle, this looks like a frequency. And it started to do all these hearts. And in my head I knew what it was, but it was me doubting myself, like I need to have it on the paper, I need to have it on the paper, and it just rose. I mean, it looked very murderous, the writing. It was like, and it just said, this is the frequency of love, but I just knew it was, because it come to me first. So then I started to explore that, realise that I can go and tap into the higher self of people and retrieve knowledge from their past lives to find out how they heal certain ailments and why particular patterns happening, or why they're attracting the same type of people. I mean, there was one lady that was always stands out. She had the most horrendous migraines ever when she was on her period. Didn't know why. It would hospitalise her, they were that bad. And she said, do you think that you could possibly find out why? And I was like, I don't know, I'll ask. So I did, and come up with this just amazing information why women have migraines with their periods, because there's entities that hang around the energetic field that feed off the menstrual energy, feed off them, take it, and then step back, waiting for the next one to come in. And he said, this is what she needs to do. If she does this consistently, puts this in the water, blah, 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 it'll be fine. I said, here you go, I don't know if this is going to work, but have a go. Anyway, I received an email from her, probably about 4 months later, no, about 5 months later. She said, I just want to update you on what's been going on. She said, out of all, she said, I've been having these for 10 years, and she said, I've only had one headache since I've been doing everything that you'd said. I was like, oh my God, but that was because of the water. And this is where the water come in it for me, because it come up with a process of what she had to do with the water. So then I realised then that was programming her cells and her body for her own healing. So she was doing it herself. It was just me unlocking the knowledge for her to know. So then I started exploring more about water. Where I met Jo actually was, I've got a thing on Facebook called Challenge Me to be Pain Free. And what I do in this, and my whole ethos before I met Jo, was to be able to help people to use water as medication for pain relief rather than keep reaching for the paracetamols and stuff. So once every couple of weeks I would get a group of people on Zoom and I'd say, alright, so I'm going to channel the frequency now. It's like this frequency just comes through me, I put my hands on the paper and it goes and it comes with this code, this like really intricate like lock code as well. And I hold it to the camera. The people hold their water up to the camera, that's it, and then the frequency's in their water. I go, right, okay, so before and after they've tested it with their own pendulum. I mean, there's people in America that come every single time I do it, and they hold the pendulum, it's dead. By the time I've finished, it's going spinning. It happens every time, it's never not worked. And I said, right, okay, has anyone got any aches or pains? Okay, rub it on, whatever. Then we have a quick chat. I go, okay, what's your pain like now? They go, oh my God, it's gone. Or it's like 90% reduced. I was like, man, this is a thing. So that's where I met Jo, and Jo was on one of the Zooms, and when I spoke to Jo, Jo was just like, I need to speak to you. I really need to speak to you because we're so connected. Completely different, but we're so connected. So that's still a thing now, that's like research that I'm doing and want to be able to, I'm going to do it for free, I do it like every couple of weeks. We change it on pets, on you, on your plants, on whatever. And you just use that water then going forward. As long as you keep that water topped up, you can use it always. And it's helping people with their aches and pains. And loads of people just said to me, like I still use that water. And I literally, as soon as my hands feel funny, like this woman's got osteoporosis, and she just says, I put it on my back, I put it on my knuckles. Wait for a minute. Okay, I'm good now. And that was one of the first people that did it. So that water's still going on, because all she does is got a bottle of the water, the original water, and keeps topping it up. And that's all she does. And it's the same water. So when Jo was saying it's diluted to the millionth, blah, 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 what did you say?
100 million.
100 million, yeah. So that's the intention of that water, because it's so high vibrational, it's flipping the rest of the water regardless of
your water.
That's it. So it just flips. And when I met Jo, that's what she was doing to the water around the world, basically. She was flipping the water, but I was just doing it in a different way. So, pretty amazing story how we've both ended up meeting. I've been crossed paths for many years because we've been to the same festivals and whatever, but never actually got to speak. So that's where we're at now. So what we're trying to do with the Crystal Water Experience is try to teach people this knowledge to be able to empower them to go on our own healing journey, to teach this stuff to the kids. We just need to bring it in and listen to that fractal of source, that source energy that's going through us all the time. That's all we need. We just need to trust ourselves. And this is why we're bringing these courses to people, to show you how powerful you actually are. When you just, when I was speaking to Jo about the illness that I survived, had like, not even a 1% survival rate really, because you can't be cured from it. From learning to walk again, from surviving chemotherapy with nothing else, because I used water and I just knew I was going to be fine. I left the hospital with this big bag of medication and just said, you need to take this for the rest of your life or you will die within 2 days if you don't take it. I was like, alright, cool. In the bin you go. I'm going to be fine.